What's up, Cash Crew, and welcome back to another episode of Cash Talks with me, Samora Cash. I'm here at Dude IDK Studios, back for another great episode today, and today is extra special because I have someone who is the hero of my heart, the nearest and dearest person to me at all times. It is my sister, my real blood sister, all the way from Knoxville, Tennessee today. Please help me give a warm welcome. I'm so excited you're here. It's Mya.
Hey guys. It's me. I'm back.
You're here.
I'm here.
You're
Finally.
here. How's it feel?
It's honestly so exciting.
Yeah.
Like, I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for this for a long time.
Yeah.
It's been needing to happen.
Absolutely. I feel like we've been talking about this for quite some time now.
Yes.
And Mya has been my biggest supporter since day uno. Okay.
Day one.
Samora,
the name, everything.
Right. From inception of Samora Cash to now.
Yeah.
And just every part of my journey, Mya has been such a huge part of who I am. And I feel like kind of all giddy today. I can't even believe you're here. This is so surreal to me. But yeah, we just are going to be getting into just a little bit of our lives together, a little bit of things that, we've journeyed through separately, but also together, and just kind of get into it slowly but surely today. So I'm going to give Mya just a few moments to talk about her a little bit, give her a little bit of background to who she is, what she's into, all the things, academic-wise, you name it. Go ahead and get into it, Mya. Give it to him.
All I do is school. School is my passion all the way through, all the time.
Yeah.
Always working hard, trying to do what I need to do. But I will say most of it is because of Cameron, Samora herself, and just so inspired, and every single day you keep me going. And so I am so grateful to have the support from you because I truly am so confident in myself and becoming who I am. Because I doubt myself all the time, but you keep me going, and I continue to work hard because of you. Truly.
Well, I feel
always.
like that feeling is always mutual between the two of us because if you are someone who's listening, you've got to always have that number one hype person in your life. If you don't have someone that you're leaning on that gives you that good feeling, those good vibes, then I don't know what you're doing. You better find that person.
Right.
That's all I got to say.
But also we keep each other in check too. Don't play.
Don't play.
Yeah. We're going to keep each other in check all the time. And that's the thing too. It's we don't just tell each other what we want to hear. Sometimes it's you really got to get in deep with each other and say the things that need to be said, talk about the uncomfortable topics. We obviously talk about things that we would not share with others. So there's definitely
that
not
as well.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Definitely, this is very new to me. I'm not a big social media person. I try to get out there, but I'm obviously not that great into it. So this is definitely something new, but I'm so glad that I have the opportunity to do it because I feel like it's so many new opportunities, not only for you, but for me to get out there and let our voices be heard.
Yeah.
So
and it's just
I'm so excited.
It's one of those moments that's full circle because, you grow up, obviously Mya is a lot younger than me and that's a whole journey on its own. But you grow up together in some way and we each go about our lives and do our things. We don't live in the same city. It's just a bunch of that. So to be doing these types of things, it just doesn't even feel real, to be honest.
It's honestly crazy. I cannot believe it. Yeah. It blows my mind every single day.
Yeah.
Every single day.
Yeah. But I'm glad that we're able to the fact that you're even able to be here right now and fly out here to see me.
We can't even talk about that flight. Let's not talk about the flight because
it
was a long day yesterday, but
Mya
I'm here.
Mya had quite the journey of getting here and just it's always a process with flying. And I don't know if any of you have ever flown in and out of Knoxville, but that airport with 12 gates, she's a demon child. Okay. She
100%.
literally is the worst airport to fly in and out of. And that's no shade on Knoxville. It's just more anytime I try to get there.
Extra shade.
Yeah. But anytime I try to get there, I'm what?
Why is there always a problem?
Yes. Always a problem.
Just let me come.
Yeah. So first and foremost, let's get into a little bit of who you are, like what you enjoy doing. I know you mentioned school and
Yes.
academics, and
all I
that's
ever
your
do.
thing, but I guess kind of, well, first and foremost, you're about to be entering into
Ugh.
your final semester
Semester,
of high
guys.
school. Like,
Yeah.
that's a huge
Yeah.
deal. First of all, how does that feel to you to be entering into that?
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Like I would have never thought, like little me would have never thought that like I'm graduating high school early.
Right.
Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like it's about to be my senior year.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be going to college.
Yeah. Yeah.
Figuring out where I'm going, writing that letter, all of it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like
But
absolutely insane.
the amazing thing with you is you have been so amazing and so like even inspiring to me, just the way that you go about like your hard work and your work
Yes.
ethic, and the way that you climb to the top, like no matter what obstacles are in your way.
Yes.
And like you've been really able to like hit high school heavy and like
Right.
get this stuff done. I mean, I did not graduate early from high school, so like it's amazing that you've been able to do that and will be able to do
Yes,
that.
yeah.
So I guess like what plans do you see for yourself after this final semester that's going to
Yeah.
be coming up? Like, what's your vision? What you got for me?
Well, I mean, I got to figure out what college I'm going to.
Right.
I'm really praying FSU really comes for me
Yes.
because I'm really trying to.
Shout
But I have
out
multiple
FSU.
yes, please get me out there. But also I'm going to major in political science because I want to be a criminal justice lawyer, and I'm a be a defense attorney, of course.
Absolutely.
Gotta help the people out there. So I really want to work hard to do that, and then eventually own my own law firm because gotta be your own boss, right?
Right.
Always,
Yeah.
always.
Yeah.
So I plan on doing that, and then whatever takes me along the way,
Yeah.
just gotta let the journey take its course. So.
Absolutely. And like
yeah.
we're big on like we're gonna do what we want to do.
Right.
No one's gonna stand in
No.
our way. We had this conversation earlier
Very
today.
independent, very independent. Don't play with us.
Yeah, we
Don't
are
play.
so that way. Like, and that's what
Yes.
I enjoy, I think, about who we are, is because we have learned to be comfortable in who we are.
Yes.
And that's a journey on its own, number one. And
still learning,
still
but
learning every day. Same for me.
definitely, yeah.
But I mean, it's an amazing journey to be able to say, like, I'm going to focus on what I want to do. I'm
Yep.
going to do what I want to do. And like, no one's going to get in the way of that. And you're very headstrong
Yeah,
in that area
no.
of your life.
No.
For sure. Yeah.
Definitely,
Yeah.
100%. I
Yeah.
mean, I try to plan everything, but that's a big problem. We can't plan everything.
Yeah.
But I definitely like feel confident in how hard I work. Like I deserve what I'm going to like get eventually.
Yeah.
And I know I'm gonna get it because
Yeah.
I'm determined.
Yeah.
So
Well, and that's the
Gotta
point.
be.
That's the point right there.
Right.
That's
Gotta
the
be.
vibes. Like already speaking it into
Right,
existence, you know?
right,
And we
right.
like share that so
Yeah.
like together. Absolutely.
yes. Agree.
But where do you feel like, you got this idea that you wanted to go into criminal justice, that you wanted to go into like a law career? Like, where do you feel like that kind of came into play for you? And like, do you have something specific that stood out that made you have that aha moment?
It's honestly gonna be really stupid. But middle school specifically, I watched The Fosters.
Okay.
Love that show.
Yeah.
And it just had a lot of like real life situations in it. And one of them was like the girl Callie became a lawyer and really found her voice in like helping people. And I just know that I genuinely want to help people. And
Yeah.
then it goes all the way back to 2022, like 2022. Yeah.
Like TOO,
T,
right.
yes.
Yeah.
So that year majorly like really impacted the fact that there were so many people that did not get the justice that they needed and deserved. And so I feel like I need their voices to be heard, and I want to be a part of that. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel very strongly about it. And
Yeah.
I think those two things, a show as well as real life situations, were the biggest part of me knowing where I wanted to go.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Because I couldn't participate in the marching and everything
Right.
and protesting.
Right.
So I felt like in the future I needed to allow many people to have their voices be heard. So
yeah.
yeah.
And that's one thing that like has always struck me about you as I've watched you like grow up and continue to like find yourself and get into the things that
Yes.
really matter. Like you share that same piece of activism that I share, and
Yes.
it's very much so about giving a voice to those who may no longer have a voice, or that like it's not even that you want to speak for people. It's like
Yeah.
speaking up on the things and
Yes.
issues
Yep.
that really matter. And I try to like always advocate for that, and to know like it takes every single person,
Yep.
every single one of us, to be able to push the envelope forward, to make change, to do all of that. And for you to have that at your age within you already is so
Yeah.
inspiring. And I feel like, you know, I can already see how you will impact future generations
Yes.
just down the road.
Yeah,
For sure.
for sure. I totally agree, but I also feel like it's not just me. I feel like my generation is very like powerful when it comes to like letting their voices be heard. I mean, there's definitely two sides to it, but I think we are definitely a generation that is going to let voices be heard and tell people how it is, like
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So
Well, and that's what I've also noticed, you know, with you, with your generation too, is that like there's no more being silent. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like
it
silence
gets you
is,
nowhere.
yeah,
It
it
gets you
doesn't
nowhere.
get anyone anywhere.
Yep.
Like it doesn't make change, it doesn't create change. And I think that is something that in this country right now we need more than anything,
Yes.
is that people who are willing to stand up and stand up on things that they know are not right,
Yes.
that are willing to speak up on it, you know. And like
Yeah.
it takes even being scared sometimes of worrying, like, well, you know, your safety could be in jeopardy for
Right.
speaking up. You know, you could be worried,
Right.
especially being in the South, in Tennessee, and
Right,
in places
exactly.
where it's not so welcoming to
Yeah.
speak up. And for you to already be doing that where you're living is just says so much about
Yeah.
you.
But I mean, if we can go all the way back to like MLK, you don't have to like be violent to let your voice be heard. And we
Right.
know that. And I think that's where the whole thing in 2020 went the wrong way, is like people saw everything, every protest, whether that be BLM or anything, it was looked at and seen and it became violent, but it's not always like that. It doesn't always have to be like that. And I mean, MLK was one of the biggest people to let that be known. It's peaceful protest. It's not violent, but
Right.
sometimes you have to do certain things for your voice to be heard.
Right.
And so, yeah, I just don't want people to think that like you have to be violent for your voice to be heard,
Right.
because obviously you don't. And that has shown in history, but it also has shown in history that that is not always the choice of being just silent
Right.
and letting it be peaceful.
Yeah.
So
And like all of our voices are so powerful. And I say that meaning like they can be powerful in a really good way,
Yep.
or they can be powerful in a really bad way.
yes.
And we've seen both happen, and
Yes.
it's currently happening, where
Right.
like people just mouth off and speak before they even realize what they're saying. And
Yeah.
what I've learned and come to realize is like people are so much more ready to jump behind what's bad
Yes.
than what's really good and
Yeah.
gonna make change. And I think
Yeah.
that like it takes people who are just very determined to speak
Yeah.
the truth on things, and sometimes the truth is not what people really want to
Yep.
hear, but like it's what's needed to be said
Exactly.
in that time, in
Exactly.
that moment, for sure.
exactly. I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. 100%.
Yeah. And so it's such a huge blessing to just again watch you be able
Yeah.
to speak up on issues. And do you have like a specific like avenue or age group or anything that you want to like really focus in on, or is it just kind of broad, do you think?
I feel like it's more broad because
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely like I feel like it's not just based off of just one group. Like, you know, I mean, there are definitely minority groups and like in different ways, like LGBTQ, all that.
Yeah.
But age range, I mean, I think it's very broad. I mean, definitely younger, because I feel like it's harder to figure out who you are, but it's also, I feel like it has become more welcoming, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think very broad for
Yeah,
sure. For
absolutely.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. Well, and one thing that like really speaks to both Maya and myself is we are actually both biracial. Our
Yes.
dad is black, our moms are white. And so that has been our own unique journey and thing that we've kind of had to kind of learn along the way. And one thing I really wanted to get into today was to kind of touch on that a little bit. And one thing that I do know is there are a lot of biracial people in the world. And I think oftentimes we are put in a very unique place. We're put in a place where we don't feel black enough to be around our black friends. We don't exactly fit in with our white friends. We're just
You're
in
too
this
whitewashed,
and like we're in this in between world that like honestly for me, like I didn't realize kind of how much of an impact it would have on my life until
Yeah.
much later. Like, you know, growing up in Tennessee, like a majority of who I was around and like went to school with, like I was surrounded by a lot of white
Yeah,
people, you know?
predominant.
And so
Yeah.
like for and I'm sure same for you too.
Right.
And it's like a lot of that, like you don't realize, I guess, going through that. You're just kind of going through the
Yeah.
motions. Like you're surrounded by this, so it's not never really of an impact to you.
Yeah.
And then as you get older and you start
Yeah.
to really figure out who you are as a person and figure out kind of your identity and all
Yeah.
these things, like it kind of becomes its own struggle
yeah.
and unique thing on its own. So yeah, I guess kind of maybe what are some takes on that for you from even like a woman's perspective and
Yeah.
also being biracial too?
I feel like our moms really helped us feel
Yeah.
comfortable
Yeah.
being like growing up. So
Yeah.
I feel like that's why we never really like realize like
Yeah.
that it's
Yeah.
so brutal.
Yeah.
But I honestly like it's so hard, honestly, especially in high school, because it's like you are looked at as like me specifically, I'm whitewashed, but it's like you're whitewashed because you speak too proper. Oh, you're not black enough because you don't speak ghetto enough. Like, you know, it's just
Yeah,
like it's
yeah.
very like stereotypical, and that's why it's such a struggle. And then you don't realize it because you have been surrounded by it and you're so used to it growing up
Right.
that it's like you don't see it as a problem anymore because you've gotten used to it.
Right.
So whenever you, especially like getting out of like Tennessee, I bet for you was like, oh, like this is like actually a problem that shouldn't be normalized in the South or whatever. Like, you know?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I feel like it's definitely something I feel like I still struggle with. I feel like we're always going to struggle with it, but it's definitely harder being in school and like not being able to explore, if that makes sense. Like
Yeah.
I'm really like set in one place, so it's harder to figure out who I am,
Yeah.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, as a woman standpoint, you got 15 million other things you got to deal with
Right.
besides being biracial. That's
Right.
just another thing to it.
Right.
So it's like, honestly, you have looking at each other's bodies to see which one's perfect. And,
Right.
you know, it's just, there's so much more to it being a woman. So it's like the biracial part in me doesn't even think about it anymore
Yeah.
because I'm so worried about 10 other things.
Yeah.
So it's definitely difficult.
Yeah. And the thing that, you know, I've definitely faced with just my adult life is the fact that so many people don't know, you know, and
Yes,
like
yeah.
I get it. I am very white passing to someone
Yeah.
who may just see me or see us or whatever. And like,
Right.
I get that. I very much so can understand how that is and
Right.
and the things that kind of go into that. But it oftentimes when people like I've been attacked, like
Yeah.
in a not loving way,
Right,
like where
right. Mm-hmm.
someone has really come at me heavy and I'm like, whoa, like before you
Why?
do that, like how about ask me like my background, who
Right,
I am,
exactly.
like where I come from, instead of just kind of jumping down my throat.
Right.
And I get that
Talking
like
about that
we're so
hairstyle isn't good.
right. Yeah. And I'm
okay.
like, I get that we're triggered by a lot of things,
Right.
especially in society now, but like it's crazy to me how some people just don't even want to get to know who you are first. They just
They
immediately want to
immediately
attack
judge.
and
Yeah.
like judge.
Yep.
And you know, I never claim to have the same struggles as my friends of color or
Right.
like my black friends and all of that. Like I
Right.
don't claim to have that struggle because I don't. And
Yeah,
I
exactly.
understand what my privilege and what our privilege
Yes.
is because of that. And
Yes.
I do very clearly see that.
Yeah.
However, it is hard and I have definitely sat at home and like had to really like journey through my own thoughts of what I'm feeling
Yeah.
just by living in my own skin day to day.
Yeah.
And, you know, sadly enough, I don't feel like I had a father representation to
Yep.
kind of give me the guidance and give
Yeah.
me the what I needed to kind of know what
Feel
I was going to
comfortable in
journey
your
with
skin,
and
yeah.
comfortable and all of that. And so everything that I figured out, I've had to figure out on my
your
own.
own.
And like thankfully, like moving away from Tennessee and living in bigger
Yeah.
cities, like I've had a lot of friends that have helped me along the way.
Right.
And I think also like I've also surrounded myself over the years with a very diverse group of people.
Right.
So like to me it's never really been like I don't necessarily fit in with my friends. It just
It's
feels like
more-
I don't fit in with the world sometimes.
Yeah, no, yeah. I totally get it. I definitely feel that the confusion that we have like growing up, like trying to figure out ourselves definitely stems from that father figure.
Yeah.
So it's hard figuring it out
Yeah.
for sure. And
Yeah.
it's like you have to go through many obstacles to figure it out.
Yeah.
And like maybe what I go through isn't the same as you, but it's definitely similar
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. And just like for anyone listening, for clarity, like Maya and I do share the same father.
Yes,
and then
yeah.
we have different mothers, but that was
Hashtag mom.
Hey, moms. But that led kind of me to another thought that I had is like, was there anything that you feel like your mom kind of either gave you with guidance that like was like helpful in your journey of kind of coming into your own, or do you feel like you've kind of found a lot of that on your own?
No, my mom plays a major role. I
Yeah.
mean, I grew up, I loved my curly hair. I loved it. And then I moved from the north side of Knoxville to the west side, which is more predominantly white. And so, yeah. And so I, it was hard.
Yeah.
And I saw all the blonde, straight hair girls, and I was like, oh my gosh, I have to be like that. So I would damage my hair and try to be someone I wasn't.
Yeah.
And so she always like rooted for me and like would support me in any decision that I made, but she was also like, you are beautiful, like natural.
Yeah.
And I never understood that till the year 2020. I think this goes back to, I don't know which podcast y'all talked about 2020 being a major year.
Yeah.
I think it was the Tyler
With
one.
Cameron. Yeah.
Cameron, yeah. And so that was a major year that I feel like that year was needed, or I would probably still be in the same place where I thought these braids that I have in my head right now are not cute on me. So that year made me realize, especially I had a friend group, all like white females, you know, and so I felt like I had to be them. But me going online during 2020 really made me realize that I need to be comfortable in my own skin. Like, in every aspect, my hair, everything. And so that was like one of the biggest moments that like I knew that I needed to change, and my mom helped me through it. I got through the ugly stage of trying to get out of damaged curly hair, and then I will say I still had that doubt of like not being enough. So I like got my curly hair back, but I wanted to dye it. So I got it very, very blonde, and up until I think it was late, like last semester, whatever. I finally dyed my hair back. And I feel like that was very hard. It was very, very hard. I still have a struggle with the fact that my curls are back, but also my natural hair is back.
Right. Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm not pretty enough ever. And so it's like a big struggle still, but I feel like I've grown a lot, and most of it is because of my mom.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
Shout out to Leslie. Love you. But one thing that really stuck out to me that you said just in what you were speaking on was the fact that you've constantly had to feel like you had to change your appearance to fit in. And that, I think maybe that's something that we haven't even talked off camera about before.
Not.
And I feel like that really stuck out to me. And that's kind of like, I don't know, that hurts my heart a little bit, because it makes me feel like we are constantly in that place where we're having to fit into what we think the norm is. And I know that a lot of that plays into living where we grew up or where you live. And I know that plays a lot into that. But like there's something to be said about constantly having to look a certain way or be a certain way or like present yourself in a way instead of just being you.
Yeah, it's also just like treatment, I think. It's like, oh, whenever I straighten my hair, oh my gosh, I'm getting so many compliments. I'm getting treated so differently. Like I don't think I ever sit back and realize, but like I really do. And then whenever my hair's curly, it's like, oh my gosh, like are you going to do something with that? Like no, like, you know, it's just like I think treatment plays a big role into it, not only just like trying to be enough. It's like it's because you get treated differently being someone that you aren't sometimes, you know. And it's like you get comfortable in that, and then you don't know anything else, and you don't want to know anything else, because the other thing you know is like not being treated good.
Right.
And I think it's a lot of like having to grow like self-love within myself, and like I'm still trying to go through that and figure it out.
Yeah.
But that's a journey,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
So it's like I need to be okay that if someone's going to treat me based off of what I look like, then so be it, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
So,
But I feel like sometimes, us not feeling like we're worthy or feeling like we're not enough or feeling like we need to change our appearances, like sometimes we honestly need to be all of that
right.
so that we can find out who we are. Because like,
Right.
look at you now and look at like what you're allowing yourself to grow into at
Right.
this point. And I
Right.
think a lot of that comes from a place of I didn't know who I was. I didn't
Right.
stand firm in who I knew myself to be. And like, same for me. Like, I think leading into just everything that I am today, like I had to be all these different versions first.
Yes,
in order
100%.
to find the person that I have
Wanted to
allowed
be.
myself and come into that place now too.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely a journey, and I think I'm still going through it.
Yeah.
Like I love that I got my braids. Like I'm so happy that my hair is done because I was going insane with my curly hair. And it's
Yeah.
only because it's like, one, it's such a hassle to do, but they're so pretty.
Yeah.
But then there's days that I'm just like, why aren't they longer?
Yeah.
Why can't they be loose and like luscious curls like every other girl?
Yeah.
And I need to realize that like I'm not every other girl.
Right.
I'm that girl.
You are
I'm
one
that
of
girl.
one, baby.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyways, but trying to become comfortable with that is a struggle.
Yeah.
But I'm getting there.
Yeah.
Slowly.
Yeah. And you have to go through that struggle to find it, to
Yes,
find
yeah.
you, and,
Yeah.
and I think that's very clearly what you're doing. And I notice that in you all the
Right.
time. And so, but what do you feel like, because there is such an age gap between
Right.
us. So like, what do you feel like, you would want to say maybe to other biracial women or other biracial just people in general that may be listening to just, I mean, especially being your age,
Right.
especially being in high school, like someone who may be like trying to figure out who they are and they're
Right.
like having all those same questions and thoughts
Yeah.
and like questioning everything. Like,
Yeah.
what do you have like something that's maybe come to you that speaks to them?
I know this is like cliche to say, but to genuinely be yourself, like be who you are. But literally be who you are. Like,
Yeah.
and also don't allow others to validate like your feelings. Like, like how you feel.
Yeah.
Like, how am I trying to say this? Like, don't allow others to make you feel a certain way. And so that's why you have to be that way, because they are validating who you are.
Yeah.
Like, I think a major part of it, like from a girl standpoint, is guys. Like, I am more attractive whenever my hair is straight. Like, I get more compliments. They're like, oh, you look so good with your hair straight. Why don't you always do that? It fries my hair, buddy.
Right.
My hair isn't natural. It's not natural.
Right.
But don't allow others to make you seem better a way that's not natural, because it will get into your head.
Yeah.
But also, you don't deserve a guy like that. And I have realized that. Like, I do not deserve a guy that does not like me being natural. And honestly, these braids are natural to me, guys. They are natural.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're a part of me, you know?
Yeah.
I feel like straight hair or whatever it may be, whether that be the way you look or anything, like that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Someone out there will love you, and
Exactly
whether
who
that
you
be a guy, your family, whatever,
Yeah.
someone out there will love you for who you are.
Right.
And if they don't, then
You don't need 'em.
You don't need them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bye.
Well, and like the thing that you said too, like if you're constantly seeking validation from other people for your self-worth, then you've got it all wrong,
Yeah.
because all of that comes from the person that you're looking at in the mirror every day.
Right.
And there are days where I look at that person in the mirror and I don't love them. And I'll be
Yeah.
honest,
Right.
like I
Exactly.
don't. But there are days that I look in that mirror and I'm like, wow, look how far we've made it. I do
Right.
like, I'm reminded that I do love that person. And
Yes.
and the things are like, I love that person a lot more today than I did yesterday. And that's like the point in all of it that I think we have to come to, regardless of what the color of your skin is, regardless of what your background is, like regardless of any of that. That's just basis of self-worth.
Yeah,
really.
exactly.
So it's like,
Exactly.
if you can find a way to look at that person and say, I love you, I accept you, I see you, like those are all things that you have to constantly look and remind yourself of.
Yeah.
And here's the thing too. Every day that you look at that person, you're not going to believe it when you look
Right,
at, like,
exactly.
you don't have to believe it. But part of that journey is just reminding yourself that you are, like, you're validated in your skin, and you're validated for, like, who you are and what you want and the person that you've become also.
You have to genuinely find comfort in who you are, because you're not going to be anybody else.
Right.
You are not going to be that girl that you continuously like look at. You will not be her. And that's one thing you also have to come to terms with. Like, you will not be that person. And it's like, that's okay, because you do not want to be. God did not make us all the same.
Right.
Like, we are all different for a reason.
Right.
And we are all our own kind. Because if we were all the same, life would be boring.
Yeah.
Life would be boring.
Very boring.
Sorry, guys, because there's some interesting people out there, but and that's good.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah. We need, like, the interesting, we need the difference to make us all, like, come together and have different points of view and have things that we have different experiences on, so we can share our stories, you know? And, like, even us sitting here today, I mean, like, to think that now we have this platform to be able to talk about things like this too. Like, we're not just doing it because we're just doing it for, like, ourself and, like, seeking it out for ourselves, but it's like we're doing it because we know, like, you know, speaking up on this and speaking up on the things that we've faced and gone through, like, it does help other people, like,
it really
live
does.
authentically.
Agreed.
And also just feel comfortable in who they are too.
You have to.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
It's like, it'll always be a journey, and it'll always be difficult. And I think for the rest of your life, you're gonna, you know, deal with it. I mean, not trying to pinpoint my mom, but she still goes through it.
Right.
And she's almost 40.
Right.
She's not gonna be happy that I said that, but I mean, genuinely, like, you will continue to go through it, but if you accept yourself, you understand that there will be days like that, and you have to keep moving forward, because there will be better days. You just have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah. And every day that you choose to allow yourself to be uncomfortable, that's growth in itself. And I don't
100%.
think that a lot of people see it that way. It's like, I know for me, like, there are days where it's just like the uncomfortableness is so uncomfortable that I just want to crawl out of my skin and get out of it. But it's like sitting with it, whether that be not accepting who you are or not loving who you are, whatever that looks like to you. Like, just not being able to sit in it doesn't help the situation. You've got to sit in the uncomfortable situation.
You got to take it all in. All of it. Every single detail, hurt, pain, all of it, you have to. Because you won't change, and you won't accept yourself if you don't.
And I think, like, I asked you about, like, what you would say to, you know, anyone biracial, whatever out there. And I feel like my thing would be, like, don't steer away from your truth. Like, don't steer away from the person that you know lives inside of you. If you're constantly questioning, like, who am I? What am I? Like, I don't understand myself. Like, be patient with that process, and, like, just be you. Don't try to, like, be someone on Instagram. Don't try to, like, change like you were saying, don't try to change all these things about yourself, because truthfully, what makes you so special is the person that you are.
But you also have to remember that, like, say you do get to a place where you're comfortable, you got to also be comfortable with helping people that are still going through it, because there's so many people still going through it. And you have to realize that you were at that stage too. Like, you know, like, that person, you might be like, oh my gosh, like, stop just comparing it's not that easy. It's not that easy. You have to allow and understand that other people go through it, and it might not be for as long as you do, which I'm pretty sure that you continue to go through it. But, you know, like, you have to also not only accept yourself, but accept others. That's a big thing to realize. Like, what you say and what you do towards others is takes a big toll.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
I feel like that was a really, like, I feel like we covered a lot of bases in that conversation. I love
Hold
that.
on.
Hold on.
Don't play with us.
Hold on now.
We got deep for a second. Can you believe that?
Hold up. But let's, like, switch gears for a second.
Yeah,
let's bring it up.
Yeah, let's bring it up the notch.
Let's bring it up.
Let's not be.
Yeah. So I want to ask you, and maybe
gosh.
I hope this isn't too hard for you to figure out, like
Oh
off the
gosh.
top of your head.
Okay.
But what is like either one of your greatest memories of me, or one of
Oh,
your funniest, like something
I
that
already
like
have one.
something?
Already
Dang, yes, I love that. Something that already like sticks out to you that like you just think about constantly. I want to
Um,
know.
well, one day, guys, I don't know how old I was, but we were going to a person that yeah, anyways, we were going to someone's house, right?
Yeah.
And it was a snowy, icy day. Do you
Oh my gosh.
It was a snowy, icy day, guys. You know, me and my our other brother Andrew was in the
Yes.
car, and
Hi,
then
Andrew.
yes, and then you were driving. Obviously, me and Andrew were not able to drive at the point in time. I can't remember if you were on your phone or what it was, but you thought you were a pro driver.
Yeah.
And we had to turn around the corner, and this other truck or something or car had to turn around the corner too.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I took the corner too fast.
That didn't end very well.
No.
And you got mad at us. Can we talk about that? You said it. You were getting mad at us, and I was like, first of all, we didn't do nothing
Because I was projecting it on
right.
you. Duh, hello.
Like it was our fault. The way that me and my brother Andrew got silent, we were like, oh, so it is our fault. Like, but then we went about our day, and it acted like you didn't just get mad at us and yell at us that we just ruined the car.
Wow.
But hey, the car actually was not ruined, guys.
It wasn't. It just
was fine.
It lived.
It lived.
And we kept going.
And we kept
lived.
going. We lived.
We
We're here
lived.
today. We're here today.
Yeah.
We got to the little event.
Yeah.
Did it really snow in Knoxville?
It did.
Oh.
I know. Weird,
Well,
right?
yeah. Well, not this past year.
Right.
We had some
Back then. Yeah.
back then it was crazy. But
I love
I don't
that
know
story.
why. That's like one story that me and Andrew always talk about because we're like, what was that day? Because we were like jamming out too. The way we had to turn that radio back down, we were like, hold on, a couple notches,
Yes.
because
Yeah.
I wonder what we were listening to: Beyonce, Chris Brown, or Justin Bieber.
I
Let's
know.
figure it out.
Someone
Someone.
back then. I
Someone.
know. Just our go-tos.
Our
always.
go-tos.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love that story. I'd actually kind of forgotten about it, but now that you just said it,
I'm
it
like,
all came back.
I like that's. But I also want to say this one. This one also reminds me of you. Anytime I make like tortilla chips and then put the cheese, shredded cheese on top, and then like
Yes.
specifically pepper, guys. He puts it on there. He always made that for me after a long day at school. I remember that too. So every single time I make that, it reminds me of you. Just want to let you know that's
I
a
love
cute
that.
one.
I love
But
that.
I'm still mad that you yelled at me. So let's
Years
get it
later,
together.
still mad.
Still mad because
angry.
it was not our fault.
Oh my god, I'm dead.
What do you remember?
So my favorite story
Oh,
of you is the one and only story that forever will stick out to me.
gosh.
And so Mya has a very hardcore obsession with Justin Bieber. I just want everyone to know it's always been a thing.
Oh.
And so one
It still
day,
is a thing.
Mya decided in her nightgown that she was
My
going
princess
to
nightgown.
her princess nightgown that she was going to give a full performance of Baby to me and to anyone else watching in the world at that time because she thought she was the stage. Okay. And you did. And that video will live in history forever.
Yeah.
Like you gave a full concert. Like you made a believer out of me.
Yeah, but can we talk about the rapping part on Baby and how I
Yes.
acted like I was out of breath because I didn't know the lyrics?
Right.
I really thought I ate that up and I did not. And it literally cringes me out to this day.
Yeah.
But can we believe that I'm like 17, almost?
I know.
Almost 18, as my mom
Almost
says.
18. Yeah.
And I'm still jamming out to Baby.
I know. It's
Always
crazy.
and will be.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Justin Bieber, when are
Yeah.
you going on tour?
Honestly, like we're waiting.
An Eras tour specifically. I need to know every single song. I need every single song
Yeah.
that you've ever put out on there.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, I feel like it's coming. Like it
It
has to be
has to
coming.
come.
Like I think it's been a long
You
time.
ended
in
your
the
tour.
making.
You need to
Yeah.
let's redo it, but
Yeah.
make it Eras.
Yeah, absolutely. I know.
Yeah.
Those are like such fun memories to like journey through and like
Yeah.
remember on. And one thing that like Mya and I always, and Andrew as well, like our brother, I was very pivotal at a time in their life where like I would help them get ready for school and like
The one
get
person that
them-
did my hair,
did
it
your,
didn't go nappy that day. If he was home, it did not go nappy. Now,
Yes.
if he was not there that week,
Yeah.
I came home to my mom with the same braids as I left. So
So I've been looking out for you since
neglect?
day one.
I don't know. Really, it was really there. And then he left me because he
know.
wanted to pursue his life, which go you.
Right.
But then I had to deal with the whole other brother that didn't know how to do hair.
Right.
So.
Right. But I've always been in your corner. I always
Always,
had you.
always.
Right. And you
always
had
did
me.
my hair, Andrew's hair.
Yeah.
Even though Andrew barely had any hair.
Yeah.
You were there.
Right.
Always.
Had to get you looking right for
Right.
school. I mean, look at you now.
Right.
Like baddie
Don't play
vibes.
right.
Okay, come
really
through.
helps. Really helps.
But yeah, I love that. Great stories. Those were really good. Those were really good.
Yeah.
So let's switch it back a little bit.
Okay.
I feel like another big topic that would be beneficial for us to kind of chat with just briefly would be like, we also both come from divorced parents as well.
Yes.
And I feel like our journeys with that have been unique in itself, number one, and just like what we've kind of had to figure out along the way of just kind of navigating that.
Right.
I know for me, like, you know, parents divorced when I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
And so really like growing up at a young age and speeding up that process and figuring it all out. Also struggling with, you know, kind of not having that real father influence that I really wanted to have in my life. And I know we can kind of like identify that and get along in that way on that topic. And it's interesting to look at life now and to see like
look back.
Yeah, to look back and be like, wow, like journeying through that at the time, you're kind of just in this unknown of like survival mode where you're bouncing back and forth,
trying to figure it out
between houses and figuring
we gotta pack that bag.
Yeah, and like figuring this whole thing out, right? And then to really become an adult and realize like, wow, like that had a much bigger influence on me than I even thought. So like, to you, what have been maybe some struggles or things that you feel like you've had to maybe realize just coming from a like separated household, a divorced household?
Well, for me, I never knew my mom and obviously our dad together.
Yeah.
So I never really experienced they got divorced. Like, you know, it's like I've always known it.
Yeah.
So it's been like, I will say I've struggled with the fact that like that's not normal. Like, I mean, not saying like any like divorce is bad. If you have to get a divorce, you have to get a divorce, like whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just, I thought it was normal. Like I thought going back and forth, packing that bag was normal.
Right.
And realizing that other people don't go through that really like took a turn for me, because I was like, you don't have to pack your bag, and you know.
Yeah.
So it's definitely been a struggle figuring it out. I now do not go back and forth anymore. I haven't as of 2 years ago.
Right.
Crazy. Can we believe that? It's been 2 years. So, one, I think you realize who is in your corner when it comes to who supports you the most. I don't know if that is for everyone, because maybe you have two great parents, you know.
Right.
And they co-parent very well, but it was a struggle. Like, you know, it was battles against battles. The stepmoms, everything was definitely very hard, because it was like, who do I choose?
Yeah.
Who do I side with? Is the dad right? Is the mom right? Like, you know, never knew.
Yeah.
And so I feel like those are very hard things to come to, and you just eventually figure it out yourself. But my mom was right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean, like, the thing that I've had to come to terms with is I feel like we live in a world, and now especially being on this side of it with this particular situation, is like we live in a time where there's always that one parent that wants to show up, that wants to be there more than the other, that wants to show the support more than the other, that wants to just really be involved in every aspect of your life and for you, right?
Yeah.
And then there's oftentimes the latter of that, which is like the one that doesn't show up, that won't be there, that says they'll be there but don't show up, you know, like,
or is there only for themselves.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think a big part of us sharing that journey together is like, I think that that's bonded you and I in a unique way, because we know what that void is now at this point, and like we're learning now kind of how to navigate it and how to get through it.
Take the words out of my mouth.
And so like maybe if you are listening to this and you are, you know, you come from a divorced family or you come from separated parents, like I don't know, like it just feels as if sometimes you're on this you're on this like tug of war
Yeah.
where you feel like, you know, you're being pulled from side to side, and you
Yes.
don't
Yeah.
know what story to believe, and you don't know what person has, you know, your best interest in
Right.
mind, and there's all these like thoughts that go through your mind, right?
Yeah.
But I think ultimately, like you said, like you find your tribe, you find your parent, you find the person that really like has your back and is looking out
Yeah.
for you and shows up for you. And what you also learn is sometimes, you know, parents just don't want to be parents. They just
Right.
have kids and
Yeah.
create children, and don't always
To look
decide that
good.
they
To look good.
decide they don't want to be around. And that's fine
Right.
too. But that's your journey, not mine.
Yeah.
And what I think we've had to realize is like we can't allow that person or whoever, anyone that it is, parent,
Right.
regardless, like to hold us back and to keep us from being happy too,
Right.
because that can steal a lot of your inner happiness, and it can steal a lot of the joy from you
Right.
also too.
Sorry, I'm gonna take these off because
Oh, no, you're
my
good.
face. But also not even just that, but if you do have parents out there that they both support you, and like are there for you,
Yeah.
100%, even if they're separated,
Yeah.
go you,
Yeah.
go you,
Yeah.
because you deserve that 100%.
Yeah.
But you and our experience, you definitely have that one that is always going to be there.
Yeah.
And you know it.
Yeah.
No matter how hard the times get,
Yeah.
whether you disagree on certain things, you fight,
Yeah.
that is your person. That
Yeah.
is that is my mom.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like
Yeah.
that, she's
Yeah.
my biggest supporter
Yeah.
other than you,
Yeah.
of course. But it's definitely a battle to go through because you like crave the want of both. But sometimes you have to be okay with just one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And hey, just because it's one doesn't mean they don't play both roles.
Right. Right.
So,
And like that's such a big thing that I think we have realized growing up with like single moms is
Yeah.
like they do have to kind of jump into that role
Right.
of playing both and being there for everything and showing up. And like you said too, like my mom and I have definitely battled
Right.
100%, and I am not ashamed to say that at all. Like,
Right.
but I also know at the end of the day, regardless of any rough time we've gone through, we somehow always find our way back to each other, you
Right.
know. And I know that struggle, you know, it can be hard in that moment,
Right.
but you know that parent, that person, our moms in general, like they have us, you know,
Right.
and they look out for us, and they've always provided for us and always made sure that, you know, we are taken care of,
Right.
and give us, you know, the strength that we need and all of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, sometimes it's just like we go about kind of feeling like we have a void
Right.
from not sharing that
Right.
connection with like a father figure
Right.
too.
I also feel like it's also hard, like having that one parent, because you are so angry that like you take it out on them, or
Yeah.
like you distance yourself from them because it's like, what if you're like that too? What if
Yeah.
you don't want to be there for me? Like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So it's like having someone like you, I give my mom like
Yeah.
props because like the battles and the conversations and everything, like you truly like have to figure out that she's not against you,
Yeah.
you know, like
Yeah.
she's there for you, she's supporting you, but also knowing that they still support you if you want to have that relationship with the other parent, but they also know that or let you know that there will be no change,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And obviously I feel like we've all siblings, whatever,
Yeah.
have figured that out, whether it has been now, later, earlier, whatever.
Yeah.
Have figured that out, that you do have that one person.
Yeah.
But some of them don't.
Right. Yeah.
Some of them choose the wrong one.
Well, and like my battle really stems from the fact of like you never really taught me what I needed to know to go forth in my life. Like I
Right.
think that, you know, certain father figures are put in our lives to teach us certain things, to give us
Yes.
certain, you know, information, to teach us certain things, especially having a black father. It's
Right,
like that's its own
exactly.
struggle too, you know? And
Exactly.
it's like I think for me, my biggest struggle has been like finding what I need for myself. What is it that I need to gain like clarity on? What do
Right.
I need to feel better? What do I need to feel more connected? And it's like
Right.
everything that I've done and everything that I've like realized about myself, I've really had to find on
Find
my
yourself,
own.
yeah.
And it's like that becomes frustrating and kind of comes from a place of resentment,
Right.
because you're like, you were kind of put on this earth to kind of teach me that,
Right.
and
You chose.
and you chose that,
Like,
and
yeah.
now not only have you chosen not to show up like as like a father, but you've also chosen not to teach me what I need to know
Right.
about a whole half side of me
Right,
that
exactly.
I am dying to know
Yeah.
about too at
And
the
like
same time.
our moms try to teach us as much as they can. I mean,
Right.
the talk about like, hey, if you do get stopped by a police, like, why is my mom telling me this? Why is
Right.
my mom having to figure out from like an outside standpoint? Like, you know, like it's just like it shouldn't have to be her, but it is her because she's the only one that was there.
Yeah.
But I feel like with the trying to figure out, I feel like as a male like form, Andrew for sure. I'm not trying to speak for him, but I genuinely think that him not having that father figure, like he has been fighting to figure out what to do. And my mom obviously is with the amazing Beth herself. So it's like he doesn't have that father figure, but basically at this point Beth is.
Yeah.
And I hate to like not saying like taking places. I'm just saying like she's the one that has showed him how to change this and change that. Like, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like not having that, especially as like a biracial male figure towards like, you know, Andrew or whatever is really, really hard.
Yeah.
And I see it. I can't speak for him, but you see it and he knows it. Like it's like a big, big thing.
Yeah. And maybe like that brings that point up of like, there's so many of us that share that same struggle of not either having one parent or the other. Sometimes I think one is more impactful than the other, and that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
I feel like sometimes what you need to realize is like you continue to seek that out and search that out in other things. And I think that you have to really be the one to figure out what that completion of like your soul looks like. Like, what do you need in your life to make up for what you didn't have? And I think we can oftentimes get caught up in finding, I know for me, like sometimes like finding the wrong relationships, finding the wrong, you know, people to be with, like, and that can be friendships or, you know, intimate
that
relationships.
Attachment issues that you get because you're
all of it. And like it shows up in different ways, right? And so I think, you know, one thing that I would definitely say to anyone that's kind of shared in this same struggle is like, find you first. And I know that like it can seem a little like, well, you've said that already, but it's like you really have to find what you're looking for, or else you're going to spend your entire life looking for it in someone else. And that chances are that person is never going to give that to you. You know?
You have to admit a lot to yourself that like whatever has happened in your life like does affect you. Like whether you realize it or not, you have to come to terms with that. Like it bothers you, obviously. And it impacts a lot, like relationships. Like my mom called me out about trust issues and I'm like,
wow,
no,
thanks,
thanks. But like literally you had to realize that most of the things that you go through most likely are from traumatic events, whether that seems like little or big, it doesn't matter. You know, like it really affects you.
Absolutely. So I guess like a couple questions I have in just like closing with this podcast today, which holy hell it has gone by so fast. I know.
So
I'm
sad.
like, I can't believe it.
Let's make another one.
But one thing I wanted to ask you is like being 17 now, almost 18, like finishing up high school, like number one question, and you can answer this one first.
Okay.
What is your biggest goal for yourself? Number one. And then number two is what would be the thing that you would say now sitting here to your younger self that you would love to speak to at this point? So biggest goal first.
My biggest goal
for yourself.
Is to allow voices to be heard. Help voices be heard. Like not like I'm just the help. Like I'm not speaking for you.
You're
you
the
know?
vessel.
Exactly. Like I'm so eager to help people. Like that is my biggest goal. And that's what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life. Like I wholeheartedly, no matter what it is, like want to help people. Because there are so many people that struggle and don't get recognition that need recognition. So that's my goal. Help people. It sounds simple, but it's much more deep.
Yeah, I see that for you. You're already on that track already.
Yeah.
And then what do you feel like now being 17, like looking back at everything you've journeyed through? Because I know your struggles deeper than most people, I feel like.
Exactly.
And so now being at this stage in your life, like what do you feel like you could look back at younger Maya and be like, oh my gosh, we made it? Or like what really that you would speak on now to yourself?
You'll get through it.
Yeah.
You don't know what you might be headed to go through, but you'll get through it. And you're still that girl. You're still that sassy girl, and continue to be you, because no one should change you at all.
Yeah.
And I wish I would have kept that in my mind growing up. So I feel like that's one of the biggest things, is to be you, because I think I would be a much more like confident person, which I come off confident and like, don't get me wrong, like I am in moments, but like it's hard. It's hard. Like, so I feel like that's a big thing about like what we talked about earlier. So I feel like being like who you are, stay who you are. Don't let anyone, any influence change that, because you will only be you. And also, you don't always have to be validated by anyone at all. At all. I mean that, like, in all caps.
Like, and that's
at
period.
All. On period.
And that's on Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Literally.
No, I get that. And I like was sitting here and almost getting like teary-eyed and emotional, because
I'm like,
so
let
wild.
me keep it together.
It's so wild to see you now at this stage. And I know the struggles have been heavy at times. I know the things that you've gone through. I know that you've just journeyed through a lot from a very young age up until now. And I just want to say, like, off and on the record, like, I am one of the most proudest people I could ever be for you, and like the person that you have truly allowed yourself to become. Like, you have a light and a voice and a drive like no one I have ever seen at 17, for sure, especially right now. And I know that you are destined for some of the biggest things for your life. And I hope you know not only that you have my support, you know, as your brother, but also your sister. But you have the support of so many. And like, I'm just so freaking proud of you. And I want you to know that.
You know, after every single podcast, I literally tell you how proud I am of you in my car, on the voice message and everything. But truly, like, I feel like you are a big impact on who I am today. Like, I have the confidence because of you. I don't think, if I didn't grow up with you helping me with my hair and telling me that I was pretty and helping me with clothes and everything, like, I don't think I would be as confident as I am. Obviously still struggling, but you know, I feel like I have grown and have became so independent because of you. Not like, obviously because I'm a mom too, but like you are such an inspiration. Like, you don't even understand. Like, I adore you, but you know this, but I literally adore you. And you have gotten so far, and I'm so proud of you. Like, you deserve everything coming your way. And the haters out there, keep hating, because he's gonna get above all y'all. I don't care what anybody says, because he continues to step on all y'all without even having to. So,
and she can do both, honey.
Okay. We can do both.
But thank you so much for saying that. I mean, I know that we share that in common. And I'm trying not to finish this podcast crying. So thank you so much.
Let's get it together.
But truly, I know that you have such a bright future ahead. I know graduation is coming up next year.
You better be there.
I will. Big things are happening. I see such a bright future, especially in law and all the things that you want to do. I know that your voice is going to change the world. So y'all be on the lookout for Miss Mya. She is going to be doing some big things absolutely down the road. So I'm just so proud of you. Seriously. But too. I did want to ask you one final question, because I ask everyone this.
I know, and I was prepared.
You're like, I'm ready.
I'm prepared.
But like, you know, being on Cash Talks, the whole bit, like, what is like, if you had all the money in the world, or money was not a factor for you, how would Cash Talk in your life?
I know I go back to this all the time, but helping people, but specifically in like different like countries, not just here too, because there are definitely they're like homeless shelters and everything that need to be improved and everything. But also, like, I really, really, really want to go to Africa, like majorly. And that's like, I cry about it all the time. Like, I see videos and I like want to go so bad, because I want to help. Like, you know, like, genuinely it would be for others, but also I'm gonna get my mom everything that she wants to, because she deserves it. But
same also.
But helping people, because there are so many people that struggle daily. I mean, daily. And that doesn't even have to do with money, like just allowing someone to talk to you. Because I mean, going into this year, we had like so many, like, not trying to get deep, but like suicidal, like, you know, like it was so bad going into like the first week of January. So money doesn't really play a factor in that, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
being helpful in every way.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like.
Showing up for people. Like
Yes.
all of
Yeah.
it. Yeah. And I think being able to do that, like you want to help people because you know what it's been, you've been on the other side
Right.
where people have helped you and
Yes,
like helped you get
exactly.
to where you are. So it's like, I love that. And I
Yeah.
feel like that's such a huge part of
Yeah.
you, and it will continue to
Yeah.
be that for sure.
What would you do? I think you've
What would
already.
I do?
Yeah, I want to know.
Oh, I mean, I just want to keep like making space for people. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like this couch alone has opened up spaces for
Yes,
people that
majorly.
I had. So when I started this podcast, I like had such a vision for, and
Right.
I knew that I had the power of like in a good way to
Right.
be able to make change and for people's stories to be heard. And
Right.
honestly, that's what I want to continue doing in
Yeah.
my life. I want there to always be a seat at my table for someone to speak their truth. And I think that is what I want to continue doing with my entire life. Snaps,
Yeah,
you know?
poem.
And the more stories that are told, the more that we share who we are and open up and be vulnerable, the more that we can create the change that we want to see.
Yes.
So that's
Ooh.
very big for me. Absolutely.
You said that really good.
You know,
I'm proud.
thank you.
Anyways.
But closing out, where can the
know.
people find you on the grams and on the social medias? Tell them.
I barely post, but Mya
We're trying to get her
Rogers,
better. Yeah.
0303 to be
Yeah.
exact.
Yeah.
We're trying to get better, so hopefully I
Straight
can
through.
get it.
Is that it? Your
Yeah.
handle? Mya Rogers. 03?
Mya.Rogers.
Mya.Rogers.
03.
03. Work.
Don't know why it's 03, but yeah.
Work.
That's all you can find me really on. I don't do much.
Yeah. And I'll link her.
Right.
I'll link her.
I'll be
gram.
there.
Yeah.
I'll be
She'll
there.
be there.
Give me a little follow.
Yeah. Give a girl a follow.
Because I lose them because I don't post.
We're trying to get her content back.
Right, we really are.
Well, Mya, thank you so much for joining me here today at Dude IDK Studios for
Yes.
another episode
Shout out.
of Cash Talks. You have been such a pleasure, a joy. Again,
Yes.
I'm proud of you. I can't wait to see you thrive. And I know you're going to be doing big, big things. Y'all be watching out for Mya. Thank you so much for listening today to another episode with us here. We will see you again so soon. Peace and love, y'all. Mwah.
Bye.